How old were you
when you became a mother? I was 18.
I was 19.
19 when I had my eldest, and I'm 21 now, and I had Oliver.
I was about 23.
22, which to me didn't seem young, but these days seems quite young.
How have you been stereotyped?
As a young mum.
I was an actress, so I had the whole, you're a young mum, you're an actress, you haven't got a proper job, this is why you've had a baby.
People assume that you just kind of live on an estate.
I think it was more about the looks. I think when I was younger, I looked a lot younger than I was, so you notice people sort of looking at your finger, looking at your hand to see if you're married. So it was a lot of disapproving looks when I was younger and I had my child.
People assume that you're poor.
I think there's the stereotype a lot of people have about young mums on benefits.
I think people they assume that you're not ever going to go anywhere. People were shocked when I went to university. They were shocked when I went travelling with my son to Southeast Asia for a year. They were just, everything was like, oh wow, pat on the back.
Everyone expects you to be quite silly in the way you act. They don't expect you to be a very good mother, which is actually really unfair because there's a lot of really good young mums out there.
A lot of the older parents might not necessarily want to hang out with you because they might think you just don't fit in with them or you're trouble. Yeah, that's my personal experience.
Will there always be a stigma
Around being a young mum?
I think there will, to a degree, unless society completely changes.
Yes, I honestly think there will be. People seem to perceive you in an odd way when you're a young mum. I got a lot of, your life's over now because you've had a child, and that's what most people tend to think.
I don't know, I think a lot of things have changed. There's lots more sort of support for younger mums. It's not like, I don't know, years ago when you were shunned and sent to a coven because you had a baby quite young or even out of wedlock.
Unfortunately, I do think there will always be some sort of stigma attached to being a young parent.
Maybe in 10 years' time, there will be less of a stigma.
Hopefully not, but I think there will always be judgmental people who will judge people for anything, especially when it comes to motherhood.
What are the advantages of being
A young mum. You get to grow with your child.
You have a lot more energy, you're still cool. Well, I think you're still cool. You can kind of relate to your child a little bit more because there isn't such a big age gap.
I didn't have to go back to work after maternity leave ended. I could stay at home for as long as I wanted to. And I found out that I wanted to do midwifery in the future. And I think if I waited to have children, I wouldn't have found that out so early.
I think the advantages are you can kind of grow up with your kids and you're not too old to do stuff with them.
My son's 16 now, and I'm in my late 30s, and we have a really, really strong bond. I feel like I've got a good relationship with him because we've grown up together, and I'm still young enough to remember being at school and all the issues he's facing. So I think that's a really, really good, that's a good thing about being a young mum. You're still young when they're teenagers.
It gives you a new kind of drive and focus when you have a lot of responsibility as a young person with a child as well. So I feel like that's the advantage for me.
I've learnt a lot from my son, so yeah, it's a teaching and learning relationship.
What?